Hey Picklers, if you enjoyed this instructional video, do me a favor, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on.
All right guys, the common tendency that we're gonna be talking about today is for the people that tend to retreat in transition. I think looking at individuals that tend to retreat probably don't trust their defense. They don't trust their ability to scramble in this transition zone. Also too, I think it really doesn't put any pressure on your opponent when they know that you're always looking to scoot back and to play most of the game at the baseline. Know that the game is won and lost at the kitchen line.
Yeah, I think some of the best defenders in the world have mastered the ability in that mid-transition zone area to just be a wall, right? And what we're not talking about is we're not saying stay at the kitchen line under all circumstances with your chest out, ready to slap it back. There is a time and a place to get some extra time by going back, but I think the biggest cue is that by the time your opponents are about to strike the ball, you need to break down and get low wherever you're at. If you're continuing to go backwards while they're making contact, it's really, really challenging as your weight's going back to play a solid shot. So I think go back if you have time and you know you're on the defensive, but make sure that you're stationary and you're in a low athletic position to try to be that wall and frustrate your opponents.
Yeah, it's very difficult to have consistency with your soft game if your feet are constantly moving. Think about this analogy. Think about like trying to hit a putt in golf as you're walking through the putt. That would be the same analogy as you dancing in transition, trying to play defense. So just keep in mind that less is more. If you're going to be a good defender, if you're going to trust your defense, find that good athletic stance. Just like what Kyle touched on, there is a time and a place to buy yourself time and to get back to the baseline. Usually that's coming off a ball that you had time on. Yep. Right? So I think focus on the timing and don't be afraid to break down and be a really good scrambler in the transition zone. Okay guys, first drill here. Coach Kyle is going to be acting as a teacher from the kitchen line. He's going to be hand feeding underhand. My job here is I have cones behind me. I have my marker here. I'm going to be at a good athletic stance. My role simply is just to be catching balls, almost like a grounder, like in baseball, like I'm a shortstop. Grounding balls, using my good athletic stance, having good posture, and just getting comfortable with not scooting back.
Yeah, and as the teacher, guys, I'm going to be feeding underhand, but I'm going to have these semi-aggressive. I'm going to try to put Tyson in some compromised positions. Some will be out of the air, some will be off the bounce. But again, he's just working on his balance, his posture, and not retreating.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Good. I'm working on not scooting back. I think one of the big common tendencies here is that we see is that when players are a little uncomfortable here, it's very natural for them to want to start scooting back. Okay, so like the natural tendency is for them to start leaning back on their heels. I want you to really focus on staying on the balls of your feet, keeping your weight going forward, okay? Good, and not only am I gauging off the bounce or out of the air, but I'm gauging my overall lean here. The last thing I want to do is to be overextended and to be trying to catch a ball out here. I'm going to keep myself nice and tucked in and focus on only catching a ball out of the air if it's inside of my bubble.
Yeah, a good cue for him is if he's locking his arm, he probably overreached. You want to have a little bit of bend all the time in that elbow.
Okay guys, second progression to this drill here. Coach Kyle is in the transition zone. I'm going to be working him around. Now he's going to use a paddle and he's going to try to hit a fifth ball volley either out of the air or off the bounce back into the kitchen. Okay, ready here? Good. And I'm catching and then feeding. Good, catching and feeding. And it's much simpler to be feeding off the bounce. Feed off the bounce. Good, good, good. See how he's holding his ground. Sorry. He's holding his ground, he's staying balanced. Notice how his paddle's like a statue. Beautiful, okay? The next progression here would be same idea, but instead of me feeding, I'm just gonna keep the rally going, okay? So we'll go for about 2 or 3 minutes here. Okay, I'm gonna keep the rally going. I can take it off the bounce or take it out of the air. He's doing the same thing. Okay, here we go, no worries. Okay, beautiful. Good, he's holding his ground. The cones there are stopping him from backing up. Beautiful, good. I like it, very good. Okay, guys, last drill here. So now Coach Kyle is going to recognize when to back up. We talked all about, you know, having the cones behind you and holding your ground, but now we're going to say that if you pop a ball up from the transition zone, okay, there's nothing wrong with backing up and giving yourself more time. So Kyle more so is going to be either gaining space or holding his ground based off his ball. But he can only position himself at the transition zone or scoot back to the baseline. He can only be in that little
Yep. So even if I hit a good ball here, guys, and normally we'd probably want to get in, but for the purposes of the drill, this is about as far forward as I'm going to go.
Okay, I'm looking to be ultra aggressive here. Okay, ready here? I'm feeding. Nice. Nice. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Back up, give myself time. Okay, back in, good drop. Good, back up, give myself a little time. So I'm just basing my position off my ball here. Okay, nice. Pop this one up, back up, give myself a little time. Nice. Back in. Okay, pop this one up, sorry. Pop this one up, back up, give myself more time.
Nice. Pretty.
Okay guys, drill recap here. We had a teacher-student scenario going on. First scenario, teacher was underhand feeding. Student was in the transition zone. We had cones right there. Student was to hold their ground and to catch the balls to be in a good athletic stance. The second progression was the teacher was feeding off the paddle, and then the student was to hit drops in the kitchen, whether it's out of the air or off the bounce. The third progression was to keep the rally going. Student was hitting drops in the kitchen, but instead of the teacher feeding off the paddle, the teacher was keeping the rally going.
Yeah, guys, so a couple things to remember for this. Center of gravity should be pretty up and down. We might be low, but we don't want to be leaning too far forward or, again, leaning backwards, even if we don't take a step back. We want to be that wall that holds our ground and accept the fact that if it's off the bounce, you're really going to be doing a half volley. This isn't a time where you want to put a lot of top spin or a lot of back spin. You really want to keep your wrist locked and just trust that it's either going to be a block out of the air or a half volley right off the bounce.
I think the formula with being a good defender is giving yourself time, giving yourself margin, using that lift dink versus a push dink, and holding your ground.
Yep, being balanced for sure. Okay guys, so we're gonna show you a little game that we use to improve our work in the transition zone. So I'm gonna start being at the kitchen line, and I'm gonna be the feeder, feeding semi-aggressive to Tyson, who's gonna be starting in the transition zone. We're gonna be playing games to 7. Since I start with a pretty good advantage already being up here, we're gonna go ahead and spot him 3 points right out of the get-go. For lower levels, we'll do 1 semi-aggressive feed. The moment they get it over or feel like it's the right time to come in, they can go ahead and close, get to the kitchen line and play the point out. At the higher levels, we want to wait till 2 of these blocks or half volley resets land in the kitchen. After the second one lands in the kitchen, that's your license for the point to be live and go from there. Okay.
I like it, let's do it. So game to 7, rally scoring?
Game to 7, so again, because I start with the advantage, it's gonna be 0-3.
Okay, and then we're gonna go higher level here, okay? Higher level,
higher level
to make
start.
2.
Yep,
okay?
absolutely, have to make 2 in the kitchen. Okay, a little long. There's 1.
Okay, the point for you, point for you,
me.
here we go.
All right, here we go. 1-3. There's 1 and 2, we're live.
Yep.
What did I do?
Probably not the ball for me to be aggressive
low,
on.
Little low.
Bad decision making.
Okay, 2-3. There's 1, and we're live.
No!
Maybe resort to the drop shot.
Come on.
All right, 3-all, here we go. There's 1, and live. Oh, too good. Okay, 3-4, nice point.
There's 1. There's 2.
Oh,
Okay, last
3-5,
one here.
good work. Here we go. There's one. And we're live.
Too good.
Good stuff. So we would play that, guys. We would play that out to 7. We ended up on, I think it was 4-5 or 5-all. But we'd play that to 7. And just remember, because the person at the kitchen line starts with an advantage, they spot the other person 3 points to start. To recap the game that we did, I started at the kitchen line. Tyson started in transition. We're playing a game to 7. I'm gonna start with the feed. Really important to have the feed semi-aggressive. If I'm just absolutely hitting it as hard as I can, Tyson's not gonna get much out of the game. Right. If I'm passive, somewhat cooperative, but trying to put it down at his feet, whether it's out of the air or off the bounce, something to help him work on that either half volley or that block right out of the gate. For higher levels, and that's what we demonstrated, we wanna get 2 to land in the kitchen before the point is live. For lower levels, really just the moment that you play when you feel this pretty good or non-attackable, that's your license to go ahead and start gaining some space forward and just play out the point from there.
I think some of the big takeaways there are, don't be afraid to scramble. Don't be afraid to trust your height. Know that you can win a lot of points just by playing defense. Yep. You know, I would say lower levels, the percentage of points being won by unforced compared to forced, probably 80-20, 80% of the time unforced errors are taking place versus 20% of the time forced errors. Higher level, maybe 60-40. So that just comes to show that putting balls in play, you know, having high pickleball IQ, being a good scrambler goes a long way.
Yeah, if you look at some of the points that we played, look at how many balls Tyson was able to get back when he was very much on defense, and I had the ball up here well in green and hitting it as hard as I could, and yet he was still able to get the ball back, and he waited for his moment to be more selective with the time to come forward.